Yes, guys, welcome back to another. Why is the music still playing, Tom? Why is it still playing? It stopped. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, guys, to another podcast. TG Podcast is back. What's going on? Who's going on echo now? Oh, hold on. Guys, I had two tabs open. What an idiot. What a useless start. We're back again, people. TG Podcast. We've got a great panel today. Apologies about the intro, but yeah, we're going to introduce them one by one. Let's start off by Balogun, who made the intro, the man himself. Tom, welcome back, my brother. Thanks for the intro, man.
Well. Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you, man. And guys, go and give him a sub because that intro is lit, by the way. Yeah, absolutely world-class intro. So big up to him.
Cheers.
We got RORY back again. How you doing, RORY?
I'm dying still.
Big up. We got Seb here as always. Big up yourself, Seb, as well. Hope you're keeping well, my friends. And for the first time, well, Seb's already had him on the channel, but I was unfortunately ill. But we've got the main man himself, Thomas. Welcome to his channel, my friends. How's it going? Hope you're keeping well.
Yeah, great. Thank you for having me on.
No worries, guys. Please go and give him a sub as well. He's absolutely smashing it. It's literally go to the link in the description, click the blue hat, and give him a sub. But yeah,
great content.
Let's just dive right into it, people. Big up. Let's just dive right into it, people. And we're gonna start off with obviously the game on Saturday. Unfortunately, the draw to Fulham. I know half of us did fan cams already about it, but I'll start off with Thomas's thoughts, obviously. So yeah, Thomas, what was your thoughts, obviously, on the result, on the performance, on the lineup as well, my friend?
Third game now with Gabriel on the bench. I'm not worried about him leaving, but I know there have been talks. So hopefully that's nothing to do with transfers. But I thought, new systems, new signings, things like that. We're still settling into this new type of system that Arteta wants to try. But for me, I'm not sure if it's working. Another game where we've just sort of, I wouldn't say scraped a point. For most of the game, we were on top, we were dominating, but the result is what matters. And 2-2, it's not good enough, especially against Fulham at home. So yeah, not great. 7 out of 9 points so far. It's not bad, but definitely could be better, and we should have won.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Look, with all this like Arteta system type everyone's talking about, what's your point of view on it? Do you obviously, I know you said you want to see Gabriel back, but playing Partey right back as well. Like, why do you think he's changed it when it worked so well last season?
I think it's about trying to get Havertz in the team. I think he really does like him. Largely why he signed him, and so we're trying to fit him and Partey both into the side. But the system obviously is working somehow. I've seen statistics and I've seen maps, and it does show that we have been playing quite well in some parts of the games, better than we did last season. But it's the result that matters, and it's not getting us the results. But I think now that we've seen Jesus was back, he came on, Zinchenko as well. Hopefully, we'll be able to return to the similar lineup to how we were playing last season, with a midfield of Partey and then Rice instead of Xhaka and Odegaard, and a back four of Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba and White, because obviously that's what works for us, and we need to revert back to it.
100%. All right, I'm going to come to my man Seb now. Seb, obviously, I know we did the fan cam, but just anyone who missed it, give your overall of the game again, my friend, and obviously about the new system that Arteta's playing. What's your point of view on that? And all that stuff, my friend.
Yeah, as I said on the fan cam, and I still am really disappointed with that, because I'm sorry, that's a game we should be getting 3 points. And there was a lot of things that was wrong with that. First of all, as you said, this system. Look, Arteta is really trying to overcomplicate things, and it's pretty clear it's not working. Partey is not a right back. He's not. And then conceding again in the first minute, I'm just like, are these lessons not being learned from what happened against Southampton and Bournemouth last season? and nearly against Leeds as well. And people are going to blame Saka for that opening goal, which, fair enough, it was a hospital pass. But I think there were two other things wrong with it. First of all, if you have Ben White behind him, I really honestly think that will link up well, and that would never have occurred. But because of Thomas Partey, who doesn't overlap, who can't do it because that's not his job, of course he's going to be out of position and he's not going to be where he's expected to be. So that was one. And that comes down to Arteta and the system. And thirdly, I'm sorry, but what was Ramsdale doing? The thing with him, look, Ramsdale's a good keeper, don't get me wrong. And I know I've had my sayings about the Leno comparison and now Ray.
Leno.
I know I had that sayings. I won't go into that on this podcast. But the thing with Ramsdale is he always wants to get very involved in the game. He said, I'm getting a bit bored, let's do something. You need to let the game come to you, because that positioning was horrendous. Anyone could have lobbed him from that situation, and they did. So that was disappointing. Another thing that was disappointing is we worked so hard to get that game back and to turn it around. So hard to do that. But why on earth, when you go down to 10 men, are you taking off your captain and bringing on Jorginho to try and shut the game down and then just allow Fulham to say, okay, you come and attack us now? You don't do that when you're up against 10 men. You just don't. You keep going and going. The game's there for you to be won. It's there for you. But no. And what, again, I don't like, we saw this at Nottingham Forest. The goals we are conceding is absolutely pathetic. The goals we're conceding. First of all, I said about that opener, with the positioning was all wrong. And another one, with that corner, that marking was horrendous. Again, that used to be a strong point of us a couple of seasons ago. We didn't used to concede from a corner throughout the whole, not last season, the season before. But what was that? Why have we gone back to this zonal marking, revert type, which left that Palhinha completely unmarked for him to get a free tap-in? And it's a goal. And then again, we're trying to wrestle the game back that we worked so hard to get back in front. We're trying to wrestle it back. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And we could have easily lost that game if only Traore could finish. But thank goodness he can't, because otherwise we would have lost that game. And then who would have been...
Ramsdale, sorry to cut you off. Ramsdale sort of saved us at the end with that save.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was
we could have lost.
Yeah, true. That was a good save. We should never have been in that position in the first place. Because if only we had managed that game better and the system was right, would have been right, then that's a comfortable 3 points, which it should have been. And yes, okay, it's not the end of the world. And to win 2 out of your first 3 games undefeated, of course, is not the worst start. But the standards have been raised high because of all the good we did last season. We're expected to compete for a title. And some people, including myself, have tipped us to win the league. But if you're going to do that, you cannot be dropping silly points at home to Fulham in the manner we did. And no disrespect to Fulham, they're not a bad side. But at home, we're supposed to be beating them. And let me just go on about this system quickly before I let other people come in. Partey is not a right back. And I actually agree with Thomas here. I think he's trying to find ways to use Kai Havertz because he's desperate to prove him wrong because of this price. Our third most expensive signing and second under Mikel Arteta. But he looked completely lost out there. He looked lost. And this is not an agenda against him. I completely disagree with the fact that people are already writing him off now. But I think now he needs to come out the side just for a couple of games and then bring him back in and ease him in. Because at the moment, it's clearly not working. Because putting Havertz in the team is losing some of the skill we have in midfields, mainly because he can't do it, and also because we're taking out Partey and putting him at the back, which is weakening the defence and weakening the midfield. That needs to happen, and also it's affecting Saka's game because many people said Saka was,
Martinelli as well.
yes, he wasn't great, but he was linking up very well last season with Ben White. Doesn't have that behind him. Oh, he's a completely different player, and this is partly why we're losing fluidity in attack, and now we're relying on penalties to try and get us back in games. It can't keep happening. Doing this will not win you the title. It won't. And fair play to Fabio Vieira and fair play to Eddie Nketiah, who I'm a big critic of. But fair play, they've come on and they've proved us wrong so far. And one thing I'll say about Arteta is now he needs to be brave and bold, and he needs to now revert back to type and stick to what was working very well last season. That back four of White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko worked really well last season. We need to go back to that because that was what got us into a title challenge in the first place. That defence was solid. Partey at the base with Rice and Odegaard in front. It really.
I mean, Seb. So to cut you off again, but that team, was working until obviously Saliba got injured, innit? And then after that, it went pear shaped.
I get it, but Saliba's back now. He's back now. Just go back to type. None of this inverted fullback on playing players out of position rubbish. Kivior looked lost. He didn't know what to do going forward because he's not a left back. Same with Partey. He's not a right back. When you've got one on the bench that can do that perfectly well, that's been fit for over a week. Why? And yes, I agree. I think Arteta thinks he can do what Pep do. But the reason is you are not Pep. You are Mikel Arteta. Just do what you feel is best and don't try and copy others because you think it's as simple as that. You need to understand what you're doing. And at this moment in time, I just don't think he does.
Fair play, man. Couldn't agree with you more. Made some fantastic points in there, Seb. I'm going to move to... Let me go to Tom. Obviously, Tom, well, I know we did the fan cam as well. I know you was out and about, so you didn't get to see the full match, but I'm sure you see the highlights. So, yeah, overall thoughts on the game, and obviously the lineup and what's going on with all the system and Havertz, forcing Havertz in, etc. All that stuff, man.
I mean, the system itself, as much as I am sick of it, I'm confused why I did it in the first place. We saw it against Forest and it didn't work, and he's done it ever since. Yes, we went and scored 5 versus Wolves, but at the end of the day, that's the end of the season, and no one's going to be there. Wolves are playing for nothing. If you're playing for nothing, then you're not going to do anything on the last game of the season. But I think for the first goal, I think looking at it back. Sorry, I think you have to play him. I think it's shared between Saka and Ramsdale. When I first saw it, I was like, that Saka, that's a poor pass. And Ramsdale's being asked to stand there so he can play out the back. But, I think that's shared blame. But I think when it comes to Arteta, he's the kind of guy that's going to question himself every game, even if he does win. So I think he would have been questioning himself. We saw towards the end of last season, he even came out and said, am I the right guy to take this club forward? And for me personally, I think we give him till Christmas, and if he's still playing this system and he's still playing Kai Havertz every single game, trying to force his way into the team, I don't think it's going to work, because I even said before the Palace game, going into that Palace game the same day as that game, I don't see us scoring more than 2 goals today. And I still don't see us scoring more than 2 goals in the match. And this system, it is supposed to bring Partey into midfield, so we have more of control in midfield, helping us go forward, so we can go on and score more goals. We look less likely to go and score goals.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and we're no good defensively either. We've got Saliba, and then we've got Ben White playing out of position, and then we've got a left back which changes position. The player, whoever's playing left back, changes all the time because Timber's out, and obviously, if you're going to play Zinchenko, then Partey's not going to play because Partey's playing at right back and don't know what he's doing. He looks lost as well as Kai Havertz. But
100.
yeah, I think Vieira. We said about Vieira on the fan cam saying he's pushing to be a starter. I think the best place for him would probably be out wide because I still don't think he's bulky enough to play in midfield. But yeah, probably out wide for him. Maybe he's going to be covered to Saka this season, but that'll be interesting to see. But I want to see Eddie play more. You know, he is.
Yeah, your boy Nketiah, bro.
Yeah. I want to see him start against Man United because I think because at the end of the day, as I said, this system is about us looking better going forward and scoring more goals. And Nketiah looks like him and Saka look like the best options when it comes to players scoring goals. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
But yeah, made some great points in there. All right, finally, Rory as well. Thoughts on obviously, well, I was watching your obviously match reaction after the game.
Yeah.
You were pissed. You were so angry. I was like,
this following day. Oh my god.
But yeah, look, I know you got a big opinion on obviously Kai Havertz, and I don't obviously disagree with that at all. But yeah, obviously, you know what has Arteta got to do? You know, go back to basics because with this whole party playing right back, and we got the Champions League draw coming up in literally Thursday. Imagine partying against Bayern Munich, man. It's going to be peak, you know. So yeah, what's your whole thoughts on this system and all, and also that performance against Fulham?
Revert back to type or go home. That's my advice to Arteta. I think it's about time that he gets given this reality check. That team lineup, sorry, he's asking for trouble at this rate. Gabriel on the bench, Partey at right back. I mean, I'm sorry, the Gabriel one bamboozles me even more because he was our best centre half last season away from home. He didn't even play against Crystal Palace, which is why I don't get it. And with the whole Kai Havertz situation, my God, he's got the turning circle of a P&O cruise ship, man. He's so slow. He's like that amateur FIFA player where you just constantly spam the X button. That's him right there. He always looks for a pass. And look, I'm not going to say get out of the football club yet, and he's not really done anything wrong to warrant me saying you're not good enough. You have to be out the team. But it's got to the point now where I feel like we have to ease him in. Right? He came from a 12th place Chelsea team, and he just walks into an Arsenal team that are challenging for a league title. That's my problem. What we should have done is we should have eased him in. And I know he's worth £65 million and he's on the highest wages at the football club, but still, right? We never had this problem with Nicolas Pepe. He was always on the bloody bench, and that was under Unai Emery, for God's sake. And Arteta benched him a couple of times, and now I'm pretty sure the guy doesn't even have a squad number. So,
fair point.
I don't know. Man United got a result at the weekend against Forest, team spirit that is, without Mason Mount, their Chelsea reject, right? And funny enough, lo and behold, as soon as we take off Havertz and hook Partey off at right back, we end up scoring goals.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been better to do it at the start, right? 3 times now that's happened at home where we've conceded goals under a minute, right? People can throw the blame at Ramsdale, Saka. At the end of the day, who is our right back and where is he? We don't have one, right? Gabriel and Ben White are were our two most consistent defenders last season. One is on the bench and the other's not played in the correct position. I really don't understand it. So what Arteta needs to do now is revert back to type, hang his damn head in shame after last weekend and the opening 3 games, because I feel like he got lucky, right? Crystal Palace, right? They had to accumulate limited subs because of the injury list they've had. I mean, it's ridiculous. And we just about scraped past them, but I guess great win because we went down to 10 men over a scandalous red card. And then at home against Forest, mate, that was an underwhelming scoreline. And, you know, the manner we were playing in that game, we really should have slashed 3 or 4 goals past them like we did last season. Yeah, that was just a shambolic performance. And look, I did say in my match reaction that I wanted goals on other social platforms. But what I didn't mean was goals in our own freaking net. Like, what is wrong with us, right? The substitutions as well. I mean, look, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, Arteta, because the subs were on point. Vieira and Nketiah. But Vieira's a guy that we wanted out on loan this summer. And he was our best player coming off the bench. So, I really don't get it. And then we bring on Jorginho against 10 men. And then when we concede, we then bring on Jesus. Why bring him on in the 91st minute? Why not roll the dice and go for the game? Oh my days, I don't understand the approach. I really don't. And I feel like Gabriel, again, would have been a perfect substitution because he is our biggest threat from set pieces. So why didn't he come on either? And he's one of the 3 captains of this Arsenal Football Club, sorry. I know I've said it numerous times in 3 sentences already, but I really don't get it. I don't get the system. And if we play Thomas Partey as a right back against Man United, then they will have a field day on that left-hand side. Apologies for ranting, but I'm still fuming till that following day. Honestly, it really frustrated me.
Yeah, 100%. When it comes to Thomas, for obviously, we're going to talk about Kai Havertz, right? What do we do with Kai Havertz now? You know, if he was on to, would you drop him for a few games? Would you play him in a different position? Because we saw against Man City, obviously, he was doing really well. I think he played 5 times against City, and I was really impressed with him. I know he didn't score, but I thought he played really well in that game. You know, at Leverkusen, he played as a right winner, stroke Odegaard's position. What would you do? Would you drop him, or would you keep him in the same position, or would you change his position?
You're on mute.
He's muted, isn't he?
There you go. Yeah, I'd probably take him out of the starting 11. I don't think he should have been dropped straight away into that starting lineup because it's not even that he's not good enough. It's just unfair on him to be put straight into, as you say, a team that's expected to challenge, if not win, the league this season. It's unfair on him, who's come from a pretty poor Chelsea side, to be up to our standards. So I think what we should have done, and what we still got the chance to do, is drop him for a couple of games, maybe bring him on in those positions where we're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, see if he can come on in the 70th, 75th minute and get a goal himself, build his confidence before he's ready to start. You know, whether that will happen now or not, though, I think it may be too late. Obviously, Arteta's played him a few times now. We've got United coming up next weekend, and I hate to say it, but I think I can see him starting again. But, you know, if I was Arteta, I'd say take him off for a few games and, yeah, as I say, bring him on later on in games that we are winning comfortably and see if he can get a goal himself, build up that confidence. And I think that's the way to go for him. I think he's a confidence player.
Yeah, 100% agree with that, my friend. Same question to you, Tom. What would you do with Havertz? Would you change his position instead of playing him in the midfield, or would you just straight out drop him?
I see him as a centre forward, to be completely honest, because he plays well there against City, and Arteta completely changes up the system, puts him in a midfield role, and all of a sudden we're awful. That's a simple way of putting it. So putting back to centre forward, maybe I don't know really, because even putting him at centre forward when the whole squad's fit, he's probably third choice there, you know. And Ketia at the moment probably top because Jesus is coming back from injury. Then you've probably got Jesus as second choice, Havertz, and then Trossard can go out wide if Smith Rowe's not going to be used. So yeah, probably put him on the bench, and then yeah, as Thomas said, bring him on, see if he can make an impact, and then if he plays well, you start him for a few games. But yeah,
I know what Rory's gonna do. Drop him straight away, innit, Rory?
burn him.
Yeah. Burn his shirt. Oh god.
What about you, Seb? What's your opinions on obviously Havertz, and what would you do with him? You know, drop him or play him different position? What would you do?
Oh well, I'll bring him out of the team for like a couple of games, maybe just ease him in. And like people have said, and I do agree that it probably isn't fair for him to be thrown in the deep end like this. And I think he also knows himself that he's under a lot of pressure, because I'm sure he's seen the reaction from Arsenal fans. And also, remember when they were on the America tour, and then he did that shooting challenge, and then he didn't score a single one of those, and then everyone got on his back. And then the next game, I think it was against the MLS All-Stars, he actually scored, and then he tweeted out, have that, guys. So I think that clearly does mean that he knows he's under a lot of pressure. But what we actually don't understand with Havertz is that we're still not sure where his best position is. Is it as a number 10? Is it in the centre midfield? Or is it up front? Or is it even on the wings? We still don't understand that. And another thing with Arteta is he's like, because of these versatilities, I like versatile players. But the thing is, you can't have a squad full of versatile players and expect to do well. It doesn't work like that. You need certified players in their proper positions. And with Kai Havertz, we probably don't have one at the moment. And because at the moment, I just think it doesn't matter where you play. Because even in the midfield, some people thought he could have done the Xhaka roles, the box-to-box left-sided centre midfield. That clearly ain't working. Even up front, yes, he can hold up the ball well, and yes, he can do all the dirty stuff. But does he score enough goals? Can he do it on his own? No, he can't. And also, if you put him out wide, is he quick enough? No. Is he another Saka or Martinelli? No, he's not. So this means that you have to ease him in, because against Fulham, he just looks completely lost out there. Completely lost. And I'm not going to lie, like I said earlier, I think Arteta's changing his system to actually accommodate him, because he knows he has to play him. You don't. You can bench him, bring him out the side for a couple of games, let him see what we're trying to do, and then bring him back in, because there's still going to be plenty of games. You've got the Champions League coming up. We've got plenty of games. So this is not the time to be experimenting things like this and to making sure you can actually make sure it definitely works now. This is not the show when you've got a settled squad, a settled midfield, a settled defence and a settled attack. You don't need to unbalance it more. And this is what I think the manager's doing at the moment. And this is why I think we're starting the season very slow, and why there are already question marks now. I personally would drop him, but do I think the manager will do it? Probably not.
Yeah, like I said, I don't get it. Why is Havertz getting this treatment? But I think Roy made a great point about Pepe. Yeah, Pepe is our club record signing, mate,
Exactly.
and he's not even in the squad.
100%.
It doesn't make sense to me, mate. How Havertz? Yeah,
Exactly. 100%.
like for me. Yeah, but all right, we're gonna move on. Next topic. It's disappointing result. Disappointing performance in the end. We should have killed the game off. Another thing I was going to ask Seb, why is it it's 3 times in a row now in the space of the calendar year we've conceded in the first minute? What's going on?
I think it's a lack of concentration, and also are these players really prepared for it? And if you actually notice, all 3 of them goals have just been careless defending, abysmal defending. The Bournemouth one, I'm sorry, you've got to be stopping that, especially when it comes right through the whole defence. It came right through and in the nets. I don't know what was going. The marking was poor. The concentration was poor. Southampton, yes, Aaron Ramsdale again with that hospital pass. But again, what was the defence doing to stop that? He could tell they were marked by Alcaraz and they weren't giving him enough space. Bang. And then Fulham. But that was all. And yes, you can blame Saka as much as you want. And yes, it probably was a poor hospital pass. I'm not denying that. But you don't have the protection behind you with Ben White, and it also doesn't help when Ramsdale is off his line, not concentrating. And then we're trying to come out, and then as soon as he gets the ball, I've got to run back. Look, if you were positioned properly in the first place, that doesn't end up in the back of the net. Anyone can chip you from this. And yes, this is definitely a recurring problem that needs to be fixed ASAP, because what that does, it changes the whole game plan, and it gives you a disadvantage. It really does, because then you've got to do all that work to try and claw it back, which we try and do. The thing is, imagine if you do this against United and do this against City and in the Champions League against these big games, there won't be any coming back. So this
100%.
mindset
100%.
has got to change. And another thing Arteta's got to fix, and also the captaincy the captain has got to come in and say, we demand nothing but focus. The whole 90 minutes. There's clearly a lack of that. Cannot be conceding goals in the first minute 3 times in a row. And we nearly did it a 4th time against Leeds, if you remember back then. And then if we had, imagine how that game would have gone.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
Exactly.
I get where you're coming from when you say Ramsdale is at fault for the goal because, of course, he's off his line and that. But we don't do that here at Arsenal, right? We play a high line, so it's easier to play out from the back. Right, what do you want him to do? Stand on his line? I've witnessed it as a goalkeeper. You should not do that, all right? You should never stand on your line as a goalkeeper. And look, I think we tested it with Leno once and it just didn't work, hence why we got rid of him. And the same's happened with Ramsdale. And what I do agree with, I feel like Ramsdale is not the same goalkeeper at home than he is away from home.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. So I feel like Raya has to come in next week. And who knows, he might limit the goals we concede at home because it's becoming ridiculous now. Regardless of the quality of the opposition we play against, we can dominate the ball for 80 minutes and still make it a shaky, like maybe even stoppage time as well. Like I feel like I'm going to crap my pants. Even at 3-1 in stoppage time, whenever we do concede at home, because you just never know. Because at the moment, we're conceding goals left, right and centre. So I feel like Ramsdale...
Right, Rory, onto that bit. And you mentioned that Ramsdale on his line, he was too far out. It wasn't so much he was not near. He was too far out. Because you saw, as soon as Fulham got that ball back, look how quickly he ran back. And then it was too late. This is what I'm meaning about your positioning. And he's got to do better there. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't necessarily stand on your line, but your positioning has to be correct. It was all over the place. So that's what I'm trying to say.
I would just say I don't think that it was. I know Ramsdale has made some mistakes in the past. You know, the Southampton one, for example, with his dodgy distribution. But for that goal, I'd say it's more down to the side. You know, he should, especially playing at a club like Arsenal with the standards we have, he should have the ability to stand that far out of his goal and not have to worry because the team are going to protect that ball so much so that there's no chance that he's going to have to get into that position where he can be chipped. And so, yeah, maybe Ramsdale has to be a little bit more careful. But I think the team should, definitely... It's definitely part of their fault as well, because Ramsdale is not... it's not his fault entirely.
It's everyone's fault, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just Ramsdale, in my opinion.
No, there was
I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people say we should start Ryan next game.
Yeah,
Do you agree, guys?
Well,
Do you agree, Thomas?
I don't think I'd throw him in straight away. I mean, I think it would be a bit unfair on Ramsdale, just to chuck him out of the squad like that after a bit of a mistake, a bit of a mix-up. And B, you don't know how he's going to perform in an Arsenal side. I know a goalkeeper doesn't have to get used to a team as much as an outfield player would have to. However, still there has to be a period of time, maybe he has to start in a cup game or something like that before he can start in the Premier League, especially in a game like Manchester United. That's massive. And for someone coming from Brentford, with all due respect to them, to come in to goal for Arsenal against rivals Manchester United, that's, massive throwing him in. I think it would be a mistake.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys, we're going to move on, obviously, to the upcoming game against a massive one, Manchester United at the Emirates. I'm looking forward to the game, I'm pretty confident as well. But, yeah, I'm going to start with Tom for this one, mate. Tom, your thoughts going into the game, number one. I know Man United, had a very poor start, got lucky against Wolves, in my opinion. They should have had, of course, we all know the penalty call. Obviously, who did they play after that? Oh, they got battered by Tottenham. And then, obviously, they went 2-0 down to Nottingham Forest and they got the job done and brought it back. So, plus, obviously, the Emirates record, we've got a very good record at Man United. Obviously, give your lineup and also, your goalkeeper. Would you change your goalkeepers? Your prediction and your thoughts going into the game in general, my friend?
Well, for me, when it comes to goalkeeper, I'm very undecided on this one. Ramsdale and Raya, they're very... You see, I was watching an Arsenal training video, and you could tell that they were different types of shot stoppers. Ramsdale, David Raya catches everything. Ramsdale doesn't. He doesn't catch it. He saves it, but it's almost like, the term camera save. He does it for the cameras. But yeah, Raya doesn't do that. He just catches everything and makes it look more comfortable, more easier, which I think, for me, I think that's good. But, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Obviously, Man United on your Arsenal debut, in goals as well. It's always difficult. I remember last year, I think it was Aston Villa we played before United, and I think Ramsdale picked up a little knock, and everyone was saying, "Oh no, Matt Turner's going to make his Arsenal debut against United." I remember that, and for me, I think Ramsdale should be starting. Backline has to be Zinchenko, has to be Gabriel, Saliba, and White. I think, why change something that was working so well? I don't understand. Midfield, I'll go with Thomas Partey, back in midfield where he belongs. Hopefully he doesn't look lost this time. Declan Rice is number 8, and then Odegaard is 10. And then the front line, I'm still unsure about the front line. I'd definitely start Saka. I think.
What about your boy Nketiah?
I'd start Nketiah as well, but Saka's the first name on the team sheet. Then you've got Nketiah, who I'd start. But then the left-hand side, it's difficult for me because Martinelli, I think he's looked good, but he's just not been able to finish. You've got Trossard, who's come into the team and not looked great and has been shipped off at half-time. And then, I don't know, because you could put Jesus out there I think
Yeah,
that's
he
not
played
a
for
bad
Man City,
shout.
didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think putting Jesus out there is a bad shout. You've also got Vieira, who looked very good against Fulham, and you've got other options as well, like Smith Rowe, a few others as well. So for me, I think he'll go with Martinelli, but I think that's going to be very interesting. But my thoughts going into the game, Man United, never an easy game for any team, even when they have got Mason Mount in the team. But you know, Forest, they got 2 in 5 minutes. That was on the break, and I think, you know, we have got pace up front with Martinelli, so I think we could do the same from a corner. We can easily go and do that. What Forest did with Awoniyi, who, by the way, is in my FPL team this week because he seems to be scoring. But yeah, I'll probably save my prediction for later in the week, but I'm still not sure going into this game because I think both sides have had a bad start, but it's tough to tell who's had the worst start. I don't know if Højlund's going to be available for this game, but it will be interesting. Is Højlund injured?
I think he is. You know. No, he's back for this game.
I don't know. It's going to be a tight game and hopefully a good one.
Yeah. Let me come to Thomas. Obviously, your thoughts going into the game, how confident you are at the Emirates against Man United, and what changes would you make to the lineup, my friend?
Yeah, I agree that both teams have had a bit of a dodgy start. But I'd say we've had a better start than they have. Even in the games which they have gone on to win, for example, Wolves, they've looked really not good at all from minute 1 to minute 90. You know, I don't want to go too much into it, but obviously Wolves could have easily won that. They had the penalty shout at the end as well. And so if the referee's decisions do go our way, which they usually don't against Man United, but if they do on the day, and I think if we do play up to our best, we play our best 11, then we should be able to win, especially at home at the Emirates, if the crowd does get behind us. Well, in terms of lineup, I'd, like I say, go back to that back four of Zinchenko. Now he's back. White at right back, and then the two centre backs would be Saliba and Gabriel. If I don't know again what's happening with him, but if Arteta thinks it's okay to bring him back in, then him as well. Then that midfield three, I'd go for Odegaard, Partey, and Rice. Bring Partey back into the midfield, and that should really, boost us in the middle of the park. And then up top, I'd go with Nketiah. I'd say I'd start him. People have been very critical of him in the past couple of seasons, and rightfully so, but he's starting to really prove himself now. He did at the end of last season, and again with a goal against Fulham on the weekend. I think he, is starting to show his true colours. And then on the wings, I'd go with Martinelli and Saka. I know Martinelli didn't have a great game against Fulham either, but he's probably the best option we've got there on the left wing. Maybe Trossard, but I wasn't too impressed with him when he played either. So yeah, no, I'd go with that lineup. And I think again, if we play well, if we play to our strengths, then we should be able to win comfortably.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. All right, Rory, coming to you, my friends. The game got into Man United. It's Emirates Stadium. You got their fans saying they're still buzzing about their pre-season win when they beat us 2-0.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be a lineup, my friends, and what's your thoughts going into the game and how confident you are, my friend?
You know what? The more I think of it, the more it's causing a little bit of a selection headache between the goalkeepers in Ramsdale and David Raya. I'm sort of stuck at the moment because I get where Thomas is coming from when, Raya coming into a huge game against Man United, and it doesn't do us any favours that the Man United game has come so soon. But Ramsdale, I mean, I'm not going to lie, he ain't really that commanding from crosses or corners. But saying that, I don't really blame him because he always gets hug handled every single time from a set piece. So, you know what? I'm not really too bothered who starts in goal at the weekend. But the back four has to change. Right back, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko. Is it rocket science? No. Right? That is our best back four at this moment in time. Right? People come at me and say, oh, Arteta loves this inverted BS. Well, why is he not starting Zinchenko? I don't get it. Right? So this time out, this weekend, there's no excusing not starting Zinchenko. Right? Because he's our only fit left back. He played, I think, 20 minutes against Palace, and then he came off the bench against Fulham. So this time out, he plays against Man United. All right, midfield, Partey, Odegaard. Well, Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. And then the front three of Saka, Martinelli, and then Jesus or Nketiah. I mean, Nketiah scored a brace last season, so I wouldn't be fussed if he ends up starting again. But yeah, Jesus, I feel like we've got to gain some minutes in the tank, innit? Because, like, what's he going to do with 5 minutes to go against Fulham? I'm not really too sure what he's supposed to do. So I think he's got to play in this one, or you start Nketiah, because at the moment, I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's actually been our best player so far this season. And that is bonkers, thinking about it. So, yeah, Jesus and Nketiah, or Nketiah, should I say, up top, Saka on the right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. The goalkeepers, again, I don't mind. Arteta can alter between the keepers. I mean, it's nice that we have got a selection headache in that position. Right, but what about the left back position? What about the right back? What about the centre backs as well? Because when Gabriel ain't playing, then we see that system again. It's just, it's jarring. But I hope that is the team will be setting up against Man United. Because if Partey starts at right back again, Rashford will have a field day. And Partey is not known for his pace. So I feel like we've got to keep it safe. We've got to bring that chemistry back with the likes of Ben White and Saka down that right-hand side. Right, bring Havertz on in the last 10 minutes if we need to salvage something, right? Don't start him in a game like this, unless if you play him up top. And I've just noticed, right, why didn't we play Trossard as the left centre mid and then played Havertz up top? Because we've trialled Trossard in that left centre mid role all pre-season, right? And we're not playing him. Like, we've decided to play him centre forward, but we've moved on from that game, innit? And hopefully he gets the team right this time, or else I'm going to be throwing my toys out of the pram if I see that same system, because knowing Arteta, I'll probably end up turning my phone sideways and upside down, because real talk, it is so confusing and I hate it. So, mate, it's a huge game. I can't stand them lot. You know I don't. So I'm hoping this time out we put in a good performance and win the game comfortably, right? Because Man United are in a similar boat to us, right? Their midfield isn't balanced, either, right? They've got the likes of Mount, Fernandes, and Casemiro. I'm not too sure whether Mason Mount's going to be fit for the game. But if he does end up making a late return, then I'm expecting him to start as well. So you've got Mount, Fernandes, and Casemiro, right? If we set up with Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, I think we win that. We win the game at the weekend. I really do. But time will tell. And
Mason Mount is out for 3 months, Rory.
Oh, is he? Shit. Well,
that means they'll be good again. Oh, well.
Oh God. Well,
That means I pay
Eriksen.
McTominay and Casemiro.
No, it'd probably be
Actually,
Eriksen.
it might be Eriksen. It might be Eriksen.
Will be Eriksen. Oh, okay, Eriksen. Fair enough.
And if they play Eriksen, then again, Casemiro is technically the lone DM. And at the moment, he's not been great this season. He looks overweight, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, I feel like we've got to kill them off early. I really do, because at the moment, they don't look fragile defensively at all. So, we have the firepower to hurt Man United, but so do Man United, because we're leaking goals at home as well. So, it's going to be an interesting contest. And if we don't win this game, then there's serious questions being asked. Because,
100%.
right, Man United are not all that. They're crap. Absolute crap. My point is justified from the start of the season, right?
Yeah.
I know it's early days, but they don't have an identity. In fact, they were more entertaining to watch under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer than Erik ten Hag, right? So I feel like Arsenal need to come into this game with spirit and just get the flipping job done. Like, the team lineup's going to be huge. Hopefully we don't pick up any of these minor injuries that come out of the blue and we have to find out until the team lineup is actually announced. And hopefully we're going to see Gabriel start as well, because man, I feel like we are missing him in defence, because with the likes of Varane and Martinez, Gabriel's going to be key because he can produce aerial threat from set pieces. Right, we launch the ball to him every time. So I feel like he's going to be huge in this game. None of this Kivior at left back. It's not his fault. I don't blame him whatsoever. But he hardly passes the halfway line whenever he plays as an actual left back. It's actually embarrassing. So, mate, we'll see what happens in it. And hopefully we'll get the 3 points. But there's no given when we're playing against Manchester United. They're awful away from home. Of course, when we do play them at the Emirates, we usually pick up results in comparison to Old Trafford. I believe we actually played them second to last game of the season, our last away game. So, I don't know. Hopefully, if we are around that top spot by the end of the season, hopefully we're lifting the trophy there, innit? So, I don't know. It's hard to predict these sort of games, but all I'm hoping for is just a performance. But it'll be just such an Arsenal thing, innit? Just to lose the game and then we we put in an outstanding performance, our best performance of the season. So we'll see what happens.
Seb, coming to you, my man. Your thoughts on this Man United game? How confident you are? Will we be at the game yourself as well?
Yep, I should be. Hopefully, yeah. Yep, I should be.
I didn't get to.
Yeah, so obviously thoughts on the game, you know, your lineup, what will you change and all that stuff, my friend?
Well, we know what the obvious areas we need to change is just go back to basics. That means go with that back four that we used to. Put Partey back in the middle with Rice and Odegaard, and then at least then we'll actually get more control of the midfield, because they're likely going to now have a stable midfield with Casemiro and Eriksen and Bruno. Because if you actually watch Man United a lot last season, they were more stable and they were more in control when they had Casemiro and Eriksen in midfield. Then they had Casemiro and Mount, so they're likely going to have a bit more control of midfield. So we need to do the same. And I also agree with Rory that we need to finish them off early, because they're not up to scratch yet. And a team like Man United are good on the counter. Like we saw last season, especially when we went to Old Trafford, they're good on the counter. So that's another reason why we cannot be having any of this Partey at right back rubbish as well, because otherwise we're just not going to catch them. And Gabriel needs to come back in the side, because he's also a very quick and strong centre back. So That's another reason why we need all our stronger players in correct positions into the side, because the game's going to be won in midfield, and it's going to be won on who controls it better. If we control the midfield better, we win that game. If they control the midfield better, then catch us on the break, they will win that game. It's just as simple as that. Regarding the attack, I'll definitely keep Saka and Martinelli, but I'm actually going to throw back in Gabriel Jesus. I really do for this game. And Nketiah has been good. Don't get me wrong, and it's no disrespect to him. I know I've been a bit of a critic for him, but I feel with Jesus, he'll just bring that energy back, and that Nketiah doesn't bring, and also it will help Martinelli's game a bit more. Because if you've noticed, Martinelli hasn't been good lately, is because I just don't think he really works with Nketiah. I think he works better with Trossard or Jesus, and we need everyone on form that day, because we need these points now more than ever. So that's the reason for my selection. Regarding the goalkeeping, all weekend after that, I was actually sided towards starting Ray, and I think I might have said it on your fan cam, Josh, but maybe it will be seem a little bit unfair to bring him in a game of this magnitude this soon. Maybe it might be a little bit unfair. So
yeah, I agree.
That one, I'm just going to say I don't mind who starts in goal. Is Ramsdale, fair enough. But what I will mind is if that back four still has Partey at the back and Havertz is still in that team. That's what I will mind, because people can honestly say, oh, you're overreacting because it's only one slip-up. But the fact is, he also played Partey at right back against Nottingham Forest last year that we lost. And even in that Wolves game, even though we won 5-0, he did it then. So the thing is, he didn't experiment this in pre-season. It's only once the league started that's when he's been doing all this. And Gabriel was playing in pre-season. He was playing there. So we can put all that to bed now. And everyone's saying, oh, I'd rather experiment now than later on in the season when it really matters. No. You need to be getting the points on the board early as well. Getting off to a good start, so you're in a good position. And then when it comes to the latter end of the season, make sure you're in that position again, and then go further and see it out. Because if you start slowly and not getting the results, all you're going to be doing is playing catch up later on. And you know how difficult that is when you are up against Man City, when they do usually click going into the second half of the season, and they're starting to click now. Like yesterday, they weren't great. They still got the job done. Newcastle, they were very good. Burnley, they were okay, but they still got the job done. So that's my thoughts going into this. Do I think we can win the game? Yes, of course. Man United are not all that, but at the same time, neither have we been this early this season. At this stage, we haven't been that great early either, and we need to start it this weekend. And like what Rory said, we need to see a bit of a performance as well, because we're not going to keep getting away with playing poorly and relying on penalties event to get us out in trouble and riding our luck. We're not going to keep getting away with this. Even against Man United, we won't get away with it. And then in the later games, we've got Chelsea and Man City coming up, and in the Champions League, we're not going to get away with it. So we need to get back to basics now and actually start playing. And the game this weekend is a good test and a good example for us to get going with it.
Can I just touch on one thing that really does piss me off, all right, with these people? Every time we're supposed to criticise a player, other users on Twitter or whatever always assume that we're throwing agendas. It's not a flipping agenda. It's criticism. Right? Honest to God, it's driving me insane. All right? I feel like, I believe it was yesterday when I replied to some guy who was speaking of the system and crap and Kai Havertz. And I was like, well, the thing that really does annoy me about this system is he's accommodating Havertz into the midfield and then shifting Partey at right back, who's our best midfielder. Declan Rice is a fantastic midfielder, and we splashed 105 million British pounds on him, but he doesn't come close to Thomas Partey on his day, in my opinion, right? And then he comes up with crap about, if you really think he's trying to fit Havertz into this system, if he is benching Gabriel to then fit Havertz in, then you're wrong. Well, that's not my point, mate. That is not my point. What I'm trying to say is he's accommodating Havertz into the midfield and then bringing others out of position. The likes of Kivior, for instance, at left back, right? When you've got Kieran Tierney out on loan, right? If he doesn't fit your system, then just get rid. I don't understand why we just loaned him out. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then you've got
Makes sense.
Havertz. I mean, I don't think Havertz is playing in the right position either. As a number 8.
I don't know where his best position is.
Right, I don't think he played as a midfielder at Leverkusen. I believe he was playing out wide.
Right when he was playing, Rory.
Right,
I think he was playing in the number. I think he was actually playing in the number.
He's a centre attacking midfielder because he was a sweat on FIFA 19. That's why people assume that he's a centre attacking midfielder. You get where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
it really does annoy me that people are throwing hate towards other people that are criticising players. All right, Odegaard, I'm a huge fan of him, but he was pants on Saturday. The same with Saka and Martinelli, right? I criticise them, but I don't blame Martinelli because behind him he's got Kivior, right? And it's not his fault by any means because he doesn't want to play left back. But you've got him at left back, and then you've got Havertz beside him, feeding through balls to him. So what you're supposed to do is, if you're Martinelli, like, he's not going to get any service. He wanted to give and go.
Exactly.
Havertz, he was caught in a triangle, innit? And then Havertz just almost played it out of play. It was laughable. And again, it's not an agenda against Havertz. It's just the fact he's come from a Chelsea side that is 12th place in the league. He's walked into an Arsenal side who are title challengers, potentially, right? And he's cost 65 million pounds, and he's on the highest wages at this football club. And he's just not doing anything. It's like playing with 10 men. It's like placing a sack of concrete in that midfield. Real talk. I mean, again, as I said, it's just we're used to signing Chelsea rejects, which is why I'm going hard on him because, again, he's been in the Premier League for 4 years now. So I'm expecting him to hit the ground running straight away, surely. And I know he's playing a new system, but it's pretty clear that it doesn't fit the system. He just doesn't. Like, we can see it. Why can't Arteta? Like, people at the game can see it, but the manager can't. Explain that one. But this doesn't mean I don't want the manager here. I still back him. I still give him Christmas minimum. Right? And if he does not change things around, and if I see the same system, then he's got to go. Right? We've got the Champions League coming up before the North London derby, and I know that's a completely different stream, but we've got the Champions League midweek coming up before we play Tottenham. So that is going to be interesting to see how that plays out because Tottenham don't have European football, so they've got a full week to prepare. So, mate, that's all I have to say, really. God, need a breather.
Fair enough. Look, guys, we can go all day about Arsenal, but because I've got to get going now. So yeah, basically, I'm going to shout out the whole panel, everyone's channels, starting off with first time, second time. I can't say first time, but yeah, Thomas, just where they can find you, my friends, and what you've got coming up on your channel, bro.
Mike muted again.
First of all, thank you for having me on. Hopefully we do win on Sunday, isn't it? But we'll see what happens with Arsenal as always. But it's the Football Stadium show on YouTube, and I've got lots of interviews, things like that, with different big clubs coming up. So if you're just a football fan in general, please make sure to check it out. It'll be greatly appreciated. And again, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Good fuck's sakes. Muted again. Tom, thanks for the intro, firstly, brother. You know, the countdown's great, by the way.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
good.
you're welcome.
See you guys.
You're welcome.
It was class, mate. He put all the like my favorite player, Alexis Sanchez, is in there and everything. So yeah, big up to you, Tom.
Yeah, I had to
What
put
you
him
coming
in.
up? You want to coming up on the channel? Yeah, man.
Well, coming up on the channel, yeah, it's just like I've got the second episode of the Ted Lasso career mode. I just need to edit that. I know episode 1 did well, but yeah, I need to get that series finished because the new FIFA game is going to be coming out soon, or EA, whatever it's called. And I want to do some sort of Nketiah series. Why not? So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'll have Arsenal Man United content coming out soon. So yes, I would appreciate it if you could come over.
Yeah, big up to Tom. As always, thank you so much for the countdown, my friend. And Seb, you got any articles coming up? Obviously, guys, he doesn't have YouTube. He's got Instagram, Talkcast, web, see link in description. But any articles coming up, Seb?
Yeah, I'm going to write one all about this, what we've been talking about, the system and why I think it's going wrong. I'm going to be writing all about this. I've got lots of things I've got to say. And it will hopefully be out later this week.
Yeah, thanks for coming on as always, man. Absolute pleasure as always. And then finally, Rory, you got anything coming up on the channel?
Yes, I do. This week, I think it's Wednesday, I'm going to do a live reaction to the Carabao Cup draw. Yeah, not the most exciting draw, but Thursday is where the drama happens, all right? It's the Champions League draw on Thursday, so I'll be doing a live reaction to that. And you're going to see my reaction to Arsenal drawing Bayern Munich, unfortunately.
Yippee!
Oh, please no.
Oh,
They're the only team I don't want in that group stage. Everyone else
Right.
I'd be absolutely fine with, just not Bayern Munich. But you know,
Real
it's gonna happen.
yeah, it's going to happen. Harry Kane as well, do me a favour.
Oh, no. He's
Yeah,
scoring.
this week there's going to be build up to the Man United game, a match review. I'll try my best to do fan cams as well because I should be in my actual setup on Sunday. So yeah, I should be available to do fan cams then. And then yeah, that's it really. So yeah, lots of things to come up on the channel.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, big up yourself, Rory, as always. Thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure to have you on. And yeah, guys, for me, of course, we're here every single day on the road 6K subscribers. So if you're new watching this, give me a sub. We've got obviously daily content. 5 more days left now to the transfer window ends. There'll be a massive deadline day stream. Hopefully, we do sign at least one more player because I think we need more. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
Champions
I
League
forgot
draw,
about
obviously,
that.
Thursday. Can't wait for that. Yeah, I know, mate, but I've got to get going, mate. I've got. I mean, we can talk about it all day, but I've got to get going now. But yeah, look, big up the chat as well. Absolute legends in the chat as always. Sorry I couldn't read out all your comments today, but yeah, guys, we're back again tomorrow. Come on, the Gunners. Let's beat Man United on Sunday, and we're out of it, people. Ciao. Come on, the Gunners.